The Serbian Orthodox Church is one of the autocephalous Eastern Orthodox Christian churches. It is the second oldest Slavic Orthodox Church in the world. The Serbian Orthodox Church comprises the majority of population in Serbia, Montenegro, and the Republika Srpska entity of Bosnia and Herzegovina. It is organized into metropolises and eparchies located primarily in Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Montenegro and Croatia, but also all over the world where Serb diaspora lives. The Serbian Orthodox Church is an autocephalous, or ecclesiastically independent, member of the Orthodox Communion. Serbian Patriarch serves as first among equals in his church. The current Patriarch is Erinj. The church achieved autocephalous status in 1219 under the leadership of St. Sava, becoming independent Archbishopric of Zika. Its status was elevated to that of a patriarchate in the 14th century, and was known afterwards as the Patriarchate of Pek. This patriarchate was abolished by the Ottoman Turks in the 18th century. The modern Serbian Orthodox Church was re-established in 1920 after the unification of the Patriarchate of Karlovci, the Metropolitanate of Belgrade and the Metropolitanate of Montenegro. History: Roman and Byzantine Christianity. Christianity spread to the Balkans beginning in the 1st century. Florus and Laurus are venerated as Christian martyrs of the 2nd century. They were murdered along with 300 Christians in Lipian. Constantine the Great, born in Nice, was the first Christian Roman emperor. In 380, Eastern Roman Emperor Theodosius decreed that his subjects would be Christians according to the First Council of Nicaea formula. Greek was used in the Byzantine Church, while the Roman Church used Latin. With the definite split in 395, the line in Europe ran south along the Drina River. Tim Judah says that the Roman split resulted in that Serbs are Orthodox and the Croats Catholic. Among Old Christian heritages, the Archbishopric of Justiniana Prima. It had the whole of present-day Serbia under its jurisdiction, and was formed in 535 AD. However, the archbishopric did not last, as the Slavs and Avars destroyed the region sometime after 602, when the last mention is made of it. In 731, Leo III attached Illyricum and southern Italy to Patriarch Anastasius of Constantinople, transferring the papal authority to the Eastern Church. Christianization of the Serbs. According to Constantine Porphyrogenitus, Serbs were Christianized by elders of Rome during the reign of Emperor Heraclius. This would have taken place during the Byzantine papacy. During the rule of Constans II, Serbs were resettled in Asia Minor from the areas around the river Vardar to the city of Gordo-Zervone. Isidore, the bishop of Gordo-Zervone, is mentioned in 680. The fact that it was an episcopal seat gives ground to the thesis that it had a large Serbian population. The establishment of Christianity as state religion dates to the time of Prince Mutimir and Byzantine Emperor Basil I, who, after managing to put the Serbs under his nominal rule, sent priests together with Admiral Nicetasiriphes before the operations against the Saracens in 868 to defend the town of Ragusa. The Christianization was due partly to Byzantine and subsequent Bulgarian influence. At least during the rule of Kotzil of Pannonia, communications between Serbia and Great Moravia must have been possible. This fact, the Pope was presumably aware of when planning Methodios diocese as well as the Dalmatian coast, which was in Byzantine hands as far north as Split. There is a possibility that some Cyrillo-Methodian pupils reached Serbia in the 870s, perhaps even sent by Methodius himself. Serbia was accounted Christian as of about 870. The first Serbian bishopric was founded at the political center at Rast near modern Novi Pazar on the Ibar River. The initial affiliation is uncertain. It may have been under the subordination of either Split or Durazzo, both then Byzantine. The early church of St. Apostles Peter and Paul at Rast can be dated to the 9th–10th century, with the rotunda plan characteristic of first court chapels. The bishopric was established shortly after 871, during the rule of Mutimir, and was part of the general plan of establishing bishoprics in the Slav lands of the empire, confirmed by the Council of Constantinople in 879–880. The seal of Strojimir, the brother of Mutimir, was bought by the Serbian state in an auction in Germany. The seal has a patriarchal cross in the center and Greek inscriptions that say, "God help Strojimir." Peter Gojniković was evidently a Christian prince. Christianity presumably was spreading in his time. Also, since Serbia bordered Bulgaria, Christian influences and perhaps missionaries came from there. That would increase in the 20-year peace. The previous generation had Slav names, the following has Christian names. A notice of strong Byzantine missions to Serbia, as well as to the Slavs of the Adriatic coast, in the 870s. The Bulgarian annexation of Serbia in 924 was important for the future direction of the Serbian Church. By then, at latest, Serbia must have received the Cyrillic alphabet and Slavic religious texts, already familiar but perhaps not yet preferred to Greek. Archbishopric of Ohrid in 1018–19. The Archbishopric of Ohrid was formed when the Byzantines conquered the First Bulgarian Empire. Greek replaced Slavic. Serbia was ecclesiastically administered into several dioceses. The Diocese of Rast, mentioned in the First Charter of Basil II, became part of the Ohrid Archbishopric and encompassed the areas of southern Serbia, by the rivers Raska, Ibar and Nim, evident in the Second Charter of Basil II. Among the first bishops were Leontius, Cyril, Euthemius and Kalinic. It joined the autocephalous Archbishopric of Zika in 1219 at the time of St. Sava. In the Chrysobules of Basil II dated to 1020, the Rast bishopric is mentioned as serving the whole of Serbia, with the seat at the Church of St. Apostles Peter and Paul. The 10th or 11th century Gospel book Codex Marianus, written in Old Church Slavonic in the Glagolithic script, is one of the oldest known Slavic manuscripts and was partly written in the Old Serbian redaction. Other early manuscripts include 11th century Grškovića Vodlomog Apostola and Mahanovića Vodlomog. Autocephalous Serbian Archbishopric in the autumn of 1192. Rastko Nemanjić, the former Grand Prince of Hum under his father Stefan Nemanju, joined Russian monk giving alms to the St. Panteleimon monastery of Mount Athos, where he was given the monastic name of Sava. They did not stay long, leaving for the Greek Vatipeda. His father later joined him, coming to Mount Athos on March 25, 1195, and taking monastic vows under the name Simeon. Father and son asked of the Holy Community that the Serbian religious center be founded at the abandoned site of Hilanda, which they renovated, marking the beginning of the Renaissance. Sava's father died at Hilanda on February 13, 1199, and was canonized as St. Simeon. Sava built a church and cell at Caries, where he stayed for some years, becoming a hieromonk, then an archimandrite in 1201. He wrote the Caries Typicon during his stay there, and a marble inscription of his work still exists. He returned to Serbia in 1207, taking with him the remains of his father, which he interred at the Studenica monastery. After reconciling Stefan II with Vukan, who had earlier been involved in a succession feud, Stefan II asked him to remain in Serbia with his clerics, which he did, providing widespread pastoral pastoral care and education to the people of Serbia. He founded several churches and monasteries, among them the Zika monastery. Sava brought the regal crown from Rome, crowning his older brother king of all Serbia in the Zika monastery in 1217. Sava returned to the Holy Mountain in 1217, marking the beginning of the real formation of the Serbian Church. He was consecrated in 1219 as the first Archbishop of the Serbian Church, and was given autocephaly by Patriarch Manuel I of Constantinople, who was then in exile at Nicaea. In the same year Sava published Zakono Pravilo. Thus the Serbs acquired both forms of independence, political and religious. After this, in Serbia, he stayed in Studenica and continued to educate the Serbian people in the faith, and later he called for a council outlawing the Bogomils, who were regarded heretics. Sava appointed proto-bishops, sending them over all of Serbia to conduct baptisms, marriages, etc. To maintain his standing as the religious and social leader, he continued to travel among the monasteries and lands to educate the people. In 1221 a synod was held in the Zika monastery, condemning Bogomilism. The following seats were newly created in the time of St. Sava: Zika, the seat of the Archbishop Monastery of Zika; Eparchy of Zeta, seated at Monastery of Holy Archangel Michael in Prevlaka near Kota in Zeta region; Eparchy of Hum, seated at Monastery of the Holy Mother of God in Ston in Hum region; Eparchy of Daba, seated at Monastery of St. Nicholas in Daba region; Eparchy of Moravica, seated at Monastery of St. Achilles in Moravica region; Eparchy of Budimlia, seated at Monastery of St. George in Budimlia region; Eparchy of Teplica, seated at Monastery of St. Nicholas in Teplica region; Eparchy of Havosno, seated at Monastery of the Holy Mother of God in Havosno region. Older eparchies under the jurisdiction of Serbian Archbishop were: Eparchy of Rast, seated at Church of the Holy Apostles Peter and Paul near Ras in Raska region; Eparchy of Lipian, seated at Lipian in Kosovo region; Eparchy of Prizren, seated at Prizren in the south of Metohija region. In 1229–1233, St. Sava went on a pilgrimage to Palestine, and in Jerusalem he met with Patriarch Athanasios II. Sava saw Bethlehem where Jesus was born, the Jordan River where Christ was baptized, and the great Lavra of St. Sabas the Sanctified. Sava asked Athanasios II, his host, and the great Lavra fraternity, led by Hegumenos Nicholas, if he could purchase 2 monasteries in the Holy Land. His request was accepted, and he was offered the monasteries of St. John the Theologian on Mount Sion and St. George's Monastery on Icona, both to be inhabited by Serbian monks. The Icontro Jerusica, a gift to the great Lavra from St. John Damascene, was given to Sava, and he, in turn, bequeathed it to Hilanda. Sava died in Trnovo, capital of the Second Bulgarian Empire, during the reign of Ivan Asen II of Bulgaria. According to his life, he fell ill following the Divine Liturgy on the Feast of the Epiphany, the 12th of January 1235. Sava was visiting Trnovo on his way back from the Holy Land, where he had founded a hospice for Syrian pilgrims in Jerusalem and arranged for Serbian monks to be welcomed in the established monasteries there. He died of pneumonia in the night between Saturday and Sunday, January 14, 1235, and was buried at the Cathedral of the Holy 40 Martyrs in Trnovo, where his body remained until May 6, 1237, when his sacred bones were moved to the monastery Mileseva in southern Serbia. In 1253 the see was transferred to the monastery of Pek by Archbishop Arsenic. The Serbian primates had since moved between the two. Sometime between 1276 to 1292 the Cumans burned the Zika monastery, and King Stefan Milutin renovated it in 1292 to 1309, during the office of Jefstatic II. In 1289 to 1290, the chief treasures of the ruined monastery, including the remains of St. Jefstatic, were transferred to Peć. Medieval Serbian Patriarchate of Peć. The status of the Serbian Orthodox Church grew along with the expansion and heightened prestige of the medieval Kingdom of Serbia. After King Stefan Dušan assumed the imperial title of Tsar, the Serbian archbishopric was correspondingly raised to the rank of Patriarchate in 1346. In the century that followed, the Serbian Church achieved its greatest power and prestige. In the 14th century, Serbian Orthodox clergy had the title of protos at Mount Athos. On April 16, 1346, Stephen Juraj Dušan of Serbia convoked a Grand Assembly at Skopje, attended by the Serbian Archbishop Jonikić II, the Archbishop Nicholas I of Ohrid, the Patriarch Simeon of Bulgaria, and various religious leaders of Mount Athos. The assembly and clerics agreed on, and then ceremonially performed the raising of the autocephalous Serbian archbishopric to the status of Patriarchate. The archbishop from now on is titled Serbian Patriarch, although some documents called him Patriarch of Serbs and Greeks, with the seat at the monastery of Peć. The new Patriarch Jonikić II now solemnly crowns Stefan Dušan as Emperor and Autocrat of Serbs and Romans. The status of Patriarchate resulted in raising bishoprics to metropolitans, as for example the Metropolitanate of Skopje. The Patriarchate took over sovereignty on Mount Athos and the Greek archbishoprics under the rule of the Patriarchate of Constantinople. For those acts he was excommunicated by the Patriarch Callistus I of Constantinople in 1350. Renewed Serbian Patriarchate of Peć. The Ottoman Empire finally conquered Serbian Despotate in 1459, Bosnian Kingdom in 1463, Herzegovina in 1482 and Montenegro in 1499. All of the conquered lands were divided in sanjaks. Although some Serbs converted to Islam, most continued their adherence to the Serbian Orthodox Church. The Church itself continued in existence throughout the Ottoman period, though not without some disruption. After the death of Serbian Patriarch Arsenic II in 1463, whose successor was not elected, the Patriarchate was thus de facto abolished, and the Serbian Church passed under the jurisdiction of Archbishopric of Ohrid and ultimately the Ecumenical Patriarchate, which exercised jurisdiction over all the Orthodox of the Ottoman Empire under the Millet system. After the failed attempt by Pavle, Archbishop of Peć around 1530 to 1540, the Serbian Patriarchate was finally restored in 1557 under the Sultan Suleiman II. Thanks to the mediation of Pasha Mehmed Sokolović, who was Serbian by birth. His cousin, one of the Serbian Orthodox bishops Makarij Sokolović, was elected Patriarch in Peć. The restoration of the Patriarchate was of great importance for the Serbs because it helped the spiritual unification of all Serbs in the Ottoman Empire. The Patriarchate of Peć also included some dioceses in western Bulgaria. Its archbishop was titled Archbishop of Peć and Serbian Patriarch, although some documents called him Archbishop of Peć and Patriarch of all Serbs and Bulgarians. In the time of Serbian Patriarch Jovan Kančul, the Ottoman Turks took the remains of St. Sava from Monastery Mileseva to the Vrakar Hill in Belgrade, where they were burned by Sanar Pasha on a stake to intimidate the Serb people in case of revolts. The Temple of St. Sava was built on the place where his remains were burned. After consequent Serbian uprisings against the Turkish occupiers in which the Church had a leading role, The Ottomans abolished the Patriarchate once again in 1766. The Church returned once more under the jurisdiction of the Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople. This period of rule by the so-called Phanariots was a period of great spiritual decline because the Greek bishops had very little understanding of the Serbian flock. Serbian Orthodox Church in Habsburg monarchy. During this period, many Christians across the Balkans converted to Islam to avoid severe taxes imposed by the Turks in retaliation for uprisings and continued resistance. Many Serbs migrated with the hierarchs to Habsburg monarchy, where they had been granted autonomy. The seat of the archbishops was moved from Peć to Karlovci. The new Serbian metropolitanate of Karlovci would become a patriarchate in 1848. Serbian Church in modern history. The Church's close association with Serbian resistance to Ottoman rule led to Eastern Orthodoxy becoming inextricably linked with Serbian national identity and the new Serbian monarchy that emerged from 1817 onwards. The Serbian Orthodox Church in Serbia finally regained its independence and became autocephalous in 1879, the year after the recognition by the great powers of Serbia as an independent state. This church was known as the Metropolitanate of Belgrade. Thus, in the end of the 19th century and beginning of the 20th century, two separate Serbian churches existed: the Patriarchate of Karlovci in the Habsburg monarchy and the Metropolitanate of Belgrade in the Kingdom of Serbia. The seat and Metropolitanate of the Kingdom of Montenegro preserved traditions of the Serbian Patriarchate. Its metropolitans were titled exarchs of the Peć throne. After World War I, all the Orthodox Serbs were united under one ecclesiastical authority, and two Serbian churches were united into the single Serbian Patriarchate in 1920 with the election of Serbian Patriarch Dimitrij. It gained great political and social influence in the interwar Kingdom of Yugoslavia, during which time it successfully campaigned against the Yugoslav government's intentions of signing a concordat with the Holy See. During the Second World War, the Serbian Orthodox Church suffered severely from persecutions by the occupying powers and the rabidly anti-Serbian Usta's regime of independent state of Croatia, which sought to create a Croatian Orthodox Church which Orthodox Serbs were forced to join. Many Serbs were killed during the war. Bishops and priests of the Serbian Orthodox Church were singled out for persecution, and many Orthodox churches were damaged or destroyed. After the war, the church was suppressed by the communist government of Josip Broz Tito, which viewed it with suspicion due to the church's links with the exiled Serbian monarchy and the nationalist Chetnik movement. Along with other ecclesiastical institutions of all denominations, the church was subject to strict controls by the Yugoslav state, which prohibited the teaching of religion in schools, confiscated church property and discouraged religious activity among the population. The gradual demise of Yugoslav communism and the rise of rival nationalist movements during the 1980s also led to a marked religious revival throughout Yugoslavia, not least in Serbia. The Serbian Patriarch Pavle supported the opposition to Slobodan Milosevic in the 1990s. The Macedonian Orthodox Church was created in 1967, effectively as an offshoot of the Serbian Orthodox Church in what was then the Socialist Republic of Macedonia, as part of the Yugoslav drive to build up a Macedonian national identity. This was strongly resisted by the Serbian Church, which does not recognize the independence of its Macedonian counterpart. Campaigns for an independent Montenegrin Orthodox Church have also gained ground in recent years. The Yugoslav wars gravely impacted several branches of the Serbian Orthodox Church. Many Serbian Orthodox Church clergy supported the war, while others were against it. Many churches in Croatia were damaged or destroyed during the Croatian War. The bishops and priests and most faithful of the eparchies of Zagreb, of Karlovac, of Slavonia and of Dalmatia became refugees. The latter three were almost completely abandoned after the exodus of the Serbs from Croatia in 1995. The eparchy of Dalmatia also had its see temporarily moved in after the Republika Srpska Krajina was established. The eparchy of Slavonia had its see moved from Pakrac to Daruvar. After Operation Storm, two monasteries were particularly damaged: the Krupa monastery built in 1317, and the Krka monastery built in 1345. The eparchies of Bahac and Petrovac, Dubra, Bosnia and Zvornik and Tuzla were also dislocated due to the war in Bosnia and Herzegovina. The eparchy see of Dubra, Bosnia was temporarily moved to Sokolac, and the see of Zvornik Tuzla to Bijeljina. Over 100 church-owned objects in the Zvornik Tuzla eparchy were destroyed or damaged during the war. Many monasteries and churches in the Zahumlia eparchy were also destroyed. Numerous faithful from these eparchies also became refugees. By 1998 the situation had stabilized in both countries. Most of the property of the Serbian Orthodox Church was returned to normal use. The bishops and priests returned, and that which was destroyed, damaged or vandalized was restored. The process of rebuilding several churches is still underway, notably the Cathedral of the Eparchy of Upper Karlovac in Karlovac. The return of the Serbian Orthodox Church faithful also started, but they are not nearly close to the pre-war numbers as of 2004. Due to the Kosovo War, after 1999 numerous Serbian Orthodox holy sites in the province were left occupied only by clergy. Since the arrival of NATO troops in June 1999, 156 Serbian Orthodox churches and monasteries have been damaged or destroyed, and several priests have been killed. During the few days of the 2004 unrest in Kosovo, 35 Serbian Orthodox churches and monasteries were damaged and some destroyed by Albanian mobs. Thousands of Serbs were forced to move from Kosovo due to the numerous attacks of Kosovo Albanians on Serbian churches and Serbs. Adherence, based on the official census results in countries which encompass territorial canonic jurisdiction of the Serbian Orthodox Church, there are more than 8 million adherents of the Church. Orthodoxy is the largest single religious faith in Serbia with 6,079,296 adherents according to the 2011 census, and in Montenegro with 460,383. It is the second largest faith in Bosnia and Herzegovina with 31.2% of adherents, and in Croatia with 4.4% of adherents. Figures for eparchies abroad is unknown, although some estimates can be reached based on the size of Serbian diaspora, which numbers around 2 million people. The number of Serbian Orthodox people in the United States is estimated at 68,800. Structure. Governance. The head of the Serbian Orthodox Church, the Patriarch, also serves as the head of the Metropolitanate of Belgrade and Karlovci. Orange became Patriarch on the 22nd of January 2010. Serbian Orthodox Patriarchs use the style His Holiness the Archbishop of Peć, Metropolitan of Belgrade and Karlovci. Serbian Patriarch. The highest body of the Church is the Holy Assembly of Bishops. It consists of the Patriarch, the Metropolitans, bishops, Archbishop of Ohrid and Vicar bishops. It meets twice a year, in spring and in autumn. The Holy Assembly of Bishops makes the important decisions for the Church and elects the Patriarch. The executive body of the Serbian Orthodox Church is the Holy Synod. It has 5 members, 4 bishops and the Patriarch. The Holy Synod takes care of the everyday operation of the Church, holding meetings on regular basis. Territorial organization. The territory of the Serbian Orthodox Church is divided into 1 patriarchal eparchy, headed by Serbian Patriarch, 4 eparchies that are honorary metropolitanates, headed by metropolitans, 35 eparchies, headed by bishops, 1 autonomous archbishopric, headed by archbishop, the autonomous archbishopric of Ohrid. It is further divided into 1 eparchy headed by the metropolitan and 6 eparchies headed by bishops. Dioceses are further divided into episcopal deaneries, each consisting of several church congregations and/or parishes. Church congregations consist of 1 or more parishes. A parish is the smallest church unit, a communion of Orthodox faithful congregating at the Holy Eucharist with the parish priest at the head. Archdiocese, metropolitanates, eparchies, autonomous archbishopric of Ohrid. The autonomous archbishopric of Ohrid or Orthodox Ohrid archbishopric is an autonomous archbishopric in the Republic of Macedonia under the jurisdiction of the Serbian Orthodox Church. It was formed in 2002 in opposition to the Macedonian Orthodox Church, which had had a similar relationship with the Serbian Orthodox Church prior to 1967, when it unilaterally declared itself autocephalous. This archbishopric is divided into 1 metropolitanate and 6 dioceses. Vicarbishops. Vicarbishop is a bishop who is not in charge of a diocese. Vicarbishop bears in his title the name of a town or region that is within a diocese. He has no independent jurisdiction, but is subordinate to his diocesan bishop. Only large dioceses have vicarbishops. There are currently 4 vicarbishops. Vicarbishop of Jegojeronim, subordinate to the Bishop of Bačka. Vicarbishop of Moravica Antonij, subordinate to the Patriarch. Vicarbishop of Teplica Arsenij, subordinate to the Patriarch. Vicarbishop of Stobi David, subordinate to the Archbishop of Ohrid.